Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call this special board meeting, August 26, 2020 of the St. Joseph School District to order. Roll call, please, Don.
Yes, Mr. Gehring,
Present.
Mr. Coe,
Here.
Ms. Witham,
Here.
Ms. Pasley,
Here.
Mr. Gilmore,
Here.
Dr. Green,
Here.
Mr. Attia. Go ahead, Tammy.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda. I'll second.
Larry moved and Brian seconded.
Yes, that's much better, thank you.
Call for a vote.
Yes. Mr. Gehring,
Yes.
Mr. Coe,
Yes.
Ms. Witham,
Yes.
Ms. Pasley,
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes.
Okay, item number 3, City of St. Joseph mask mandate. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm not sure how loud I should be talking or if I need to talk louder.
Talk a little louder, I think, Tammy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit louder. This issue came up this past Monday. Luke and I were visiting about the board meeting Monday night, and I had told him that I needed to get off from visiting with him so that I could go in on a phone call that Dr. Van Zyl and I are a part of. Every couple of weeks, we're part of an advisory committee to the mayor concerning COVID-19. It's been going on since last spring, and so the conversation Luke and I had was, we wondered if this would be the week that the city of St. Joseph would mandate wearing masks, because they have yet to do that, the city council has. And so he and I both are under the impression that maybe that needs to happen, that might make us opening school and asking our students to wear masks just a little bit easier. And so he said, well, can you call the rest of the board members and see what they think before you go on the phone call? Well, knowing that that would be or I thought it would be a infraction on the Sunshine Law, I said, no, but I think I'm going to speak up as a public official. If you're okay, I'll speak up as the leadership of the school board and ask that question, ask if we're going to mandate and say that, you know, the two of us in leadership. So when the meeting started, Doug gave his report, and after his report, I did just that and told them that I was speaking only on behalf of, I was speaking first as an elected official, and then only on behalf of the leadership of the school board, not the entire school board, and asked that the mayor and the city council might consider a mask mandate in helping us to get school started next week, because that is one of that social distancing and washing your hands are the 3 things that keep coming up over and over and over in the research to help curtail the spread of the COVID-19. So then Pat Lilly asked me towards the end of the phone call if I would be willing to join the city council on Thursday, tomorrow, and bring that to them. And I said no, that first I would want to talk to the board, because while you elect Luke and I into leadership and trust, I hope, our instincts when we have last minute decisions to make, this is a bigger picture. I don't want to speak for the board unless I ask the board. And so because we have this opportunity tonight with our executive session, I just kind of wanted to get your feel on where you stand. I know it's a personal question. We all have our own personal opinions. It's also a responsibility as the school board with the kids and the staff that we're sending into schools, and we ourselves have already required it, so I feel good about that, no matter how the conversation goes tonight. But I just kind of wanted to get your opinion and see where you guys are with it. So, any better?
Tammy, this is Brian. I'll ask you a question. I think you started this with the premise that a mask mandate in the city would help us start school.
Right. Well, my thought was this, because I'm running into it in the community where I currently teach, and we opened school this year. My thought was this: we're going to have students who come to school and say no, they're not going to want to wear a mask. No, they don't have to. And some of those will be coming from homes where parents have told them that they don't have to wear a mask. But if we have a city mandate that requires masks in public places, go ahead and go to school and you don't have to wear your mask if they tell you. And sure enough, I've seen that this week. I haven't been in school in person, but I have heard that that's, a big concern. So I thought the city in doing that would help us. I also will mention this, throughout all of these phone calls, from the very beginning that I joined, which would have been July when Seth left, Mosaic and the health department have pushed and asked for the city council to make this decision. So I knew that they were behind it also.
So Tammy, are they gonna require people to wear a mask outside even?
No, I think it's in, the mask is not for outside, I don't think. I think it's anytime you go into a place, a business, or go out, anywhere in the city. Well, I don't know about outside gatherings. I would think that they would be required if you're in an outside gathering where you can't social distance.
My feeling is, this is a very hot topic, and
Yes.
the school district has a small but very important responsibility within the community. And we have mandated masks for our staff and for the students when they're in school. I'm personally not in favor of us getting involved at the higher level of what the city council should do with the entire community. Now, I would be in favor of turning this around and asking if the city council has already declared the use of masks in large places,
10,000 square feet.
yeah, big places, and that's fine. If they want to say that they also require masks in schools, that would work in our favor. But I'm not comfortable with this board going on record supporting what the city council does as a citywide issue. I think it's a fight. We have enough fights in our hands here. I think we ought to stay out of that one. I'd rather keep our dog a little closer to our pen.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Anybody else?
I think Larry's point, I think, is very prudent. I personally am not a big fan of mandates. I think I'm personally more of a personal decision based on education. But I agree. I think politically, I think that's a wise position to follow, Larry.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Anyone else?
Maybe I need a little clarification. Isn't what you're asking for is a vote of support from the board as far as going to the city to say we support mask wearing in our buildings?
Well, not necessarily in our buildings, no, this is a city mandate that we're talking about, and I really didn't want to get a vote of the board more than just a consensus of the board. If I should join the meeting tomorrow and say yes, as an elected entity, the school board would appreciate the city council, the mayor, go ahead and enacting a mandate, that's what I would be doing. But I don't want to go there and do that if that's not the pleasure of the board.
Yeah, I think it sounds like you're asking, as a body, do we endorse a city mandate?
Exactly, yes, thank you, Brian.
And just from the couple comments, it sounds like it's gonna be a divided issue, as it is everywhere.
Which may be another reason why we want to stay away from it and not make that as a body. Rick or Rick?
Well, I just feel like if we've mandated our students to wear the masks already in school, I don't see a need to follow along with the city's plan to mandate it. Let the city council do that.
Okay, thank you, Rick.
I just worry that
against
this
it,
whole
that'll
thing
give me
is
enough of a consensus to know that I shouldn't
not
give
just,
into that.
not just masks, but this whole issue is a nightmare, and we know it's going to be a nightmare. I worry about even mandating them in the classrooms and how are teachers, the classroom professionals handling when kids aren't wearing masks and they can't social distance? I worry about that.
It's gonna be huge, I'm gonna tell you, because the same mandate that we gave in St. Joseph for the school district is the same one that the district that I teach in gave, and that is students will wear masks on the bus, they'll wear them coming into the building, they'll wear them in the hallways, and they will wear them in classrooms when they cannot be socially distanced. And that's what's happened. Well, the majority of the day, students are wearing masks, and there are some students that wear them all day long because in the classrooms they're in, they're not able to social distance. And there's already a big uproar in the community that the district lied to them when they agreed to send their kids to school in person. They were under the understanding that they wouldn't wear the mask all the time. That's not what was said. What was said is social distance. So there's going to be a lot of pushback. I'm just going to tell you ahead of time from experience, just what I've experienced in the last 3 days. So. Rick Garrett, do you have an opinion one way or the other?
I'm so torn on the issue. My personal beliefs are that I think it's in everyone's best interest when they're in close proximities with others to have the mask on. The argument, though, of mandating that to everyone just because of my own personal beliefs is kind of a hard thing. So I kind of tend to agree with Rick Gilmore on with what he said.
Okay, good, thank you. Lori, did you want to say one way or another? I know you voiced concern, but I didn't know if you wanted to say a yay or a nay.
I always kind of felt like the city mandate was backwards. That in the larger areas where people could space out more, they were mandating masks, where in smaller, more confined spaces where people can't distance, that they weren't. That seemed counterintuitive to me. I would prefer that it's an all or nothing situation. I think what I choose or believe personally, I would like to see us support it, but it doesn't sound like we would have a unanimous support. So I think your best report to the city is even our school board is divided on mandating that to the city.
Thank you. And is Luke there? Can he hear me?
No,
can
Luke's
you-
not.
No, Luke did not make it.
Okay, all right. Well, I think then we've kind of come to a consensus, and that's what I was looking for, is some kind of consensus on how to move forward with it. I'm perfectly fine. I agree. I have my personal beliefs. Then I had my, what I felt was my duty or obligation to our staff and our kids, to maybe help that go a little bit smoother, but there's no guarantee that it will. It's just a hard issue, like you said, it's a hard issue. And Larry, I certainly appreciate your remarks because you've sat in that city council seat, and I knew you would give us some wise wisdom on what is good to get involved in that arena and what isn't. So I appreciate that. Okay, moving on to number 4, personnel.
I have kind of a tangential question, if I may.
Sure.
And really, I guess this goes to Dr. Van Zyl and company. Is there a way we can get weekly reports maybe from health services? I cringe when I am blindsided with, have you heard how many people are quarantining here? Or I guess I would like to know that information. I don't need specifics, I don't need names, but I would sure appreciate, and maybe this is my own personal opinion.
Sure,
Because-
this is Doug, you're just a little off of agenda item, but I will tell you that'll be something that'll be addressed for you. But let me chime in a little bit on the agenda item that you're on, to clarify something. Number one, I think our students and our families have known that if they're coming to our schools, that masks are gonna be required when social distancing cannot take place. So no offense to anybody who feels like it could be an issue. I think you also have to remember that our students are smart, our families are smart. We've told them for multiple weeks that masks were gonna be expected when they're in our facilities. Will that rub some people the wrong way? Possibly, but I don't want our community thinking or feeling that you as a board don't believe that they can do what you're asking them to do, or why in the world were they asked to do it. I believe our staff has a good understanding of what's it gonna look like. We understand our administrators will deal with the situation when it gets there. And then as far as the city, you know, as somebody said, I think the city can look at what we're doing, and if they choose to use us as an example, they can. You as a board have made your feelings known to Tammy on what she was asked to do, but hopefully our folks understand this isn't about an individual, this is about opening our schools and keeping our schools open, and that's why we've required masks to be in place. And I believe that our folks will respond in kind, because they've had the opportunity to choose to either be online or face-to-face, knowing that that was what was going to be expected of them. So from everybody I've talked to, not that everybody likes it and is turning cartwheels, but even when you talk to the students, they would rather be in the classroom with a mask on than not in the classroom for those who are coming back face-to-face. And so, you know, I think that's a very positive thing, at least from what I've heard from our folks as well. So I just wanted to say that because I know there were a couple items that came out or was said that maybe that would be a concern. I think there's a lot of concerns with what's going on in the world today, but I also think we need to acknowledge that our folks have known, I think understand, and definitely can behave and follow the guidelines that we put in front of them. They want to be back in school just as much as our staff wants them back in school. So now I'll be quiet.
Nope, thank you, Dr. Benzo, I appreciate that.
Tammy, I'd like to make one more statement since we're being viewed here. I do not have a mask on. I believe either social distancing or a mask, one or the other at all times. When I'm within 6 feet of somebody, I wear a mask. When I go into any store, large, small, whatever the size, I wear a mask. When I'm doing social distancing, I don't wear a mask. And I think if we all do something like that, we will mitigate a lot of the problems that we're in.
Yes, thank you, Larry, for bringing that up. As a matter of fact, I asked for the medical people, the health department and Mosaic to speak to that on the phone call on Monday, because so many people think that it's an and. It's wear a mask and social distance. That is not the guidelines from CDC. The guideline from CDC is wear a mask or social distance. If you choose to do both, that's wonderful, and that's your prerogative to do that, but it is an or situation, and especially as we move into our people coming back to school. So thank you, Larry, for bringing that up and reminding me of that. Okay, any other comment before we move on? All right, moving on to number 4, personnel report.
Why don't you, because I think Brian gave it to you.
Dr. Kraus came to me after the meeting on Monday. Tuesday morning, he came to me and said that he had inadvertently forgot to put the virtual teachers on the personnel report and should have, because of the fact that they transferred from a school in. Apparently, they were having some issues with their, whatever their, I don't know,
Information system is.
some system that they use to transfer people, and that's why it didn't get put on that report, was because it didn't pull them. So we're bringing them to you tonight for approval, that the list that is attached are the virtual teachers that have moved from the schools into the virtual learning.
Thank you. So I would entertain a motion to approve the virtual academy teaching staff.
Move to approve.
Second.
I will second.
Okay, so I think that was Larry who moved to approve and Rick Gearing who seconded.
Yes.
Call for a vote.
Mr. Gearing?
Yes.
Mr. Coe?
Yes.
Ms. Witham,
Yes?
Ms. Pasley,
Yes,
Mr. Gilmore,
Yes.
Dr. Green.
Yes.
thank you. Okay, I would entertain a motion to move to executive session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Can you read, underneath the agenda, the
You need to
pursuant?
read what it says on the agenda, Rick. if you can.
Want me to read it? Pursuant to 610.021 closed meetings and closed records, personally identifiable student information, and 14 records which are protected from disclosure by law, Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA.
Thank you. So I think that was moved by Rick Gilmore and seconded by Brian.
Correct?
Yes.
Call for a vote.
Mr. Gehring?
Yes.
Mr. Coe?
Yes.
Ms. Witham?
Yes?
Ms. Pasley?
Yes.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yes.
Dr. Green?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move into executive session.
You gonna go